All right, so you're about to get into your shoulder workouts, and before you get into that, you usually don't want to get into any routine cold. And so if you are very specifically hitting your shoulders, you're not really going to be touching anything else, this is a really good warm-up to do that's going to prime the muscles for movement. It's going to help with the range of motion and the movement quality that you're going to be doing, and put everything together. It ultimately is going to reduce the amount of risk that you could potentially have doing any of the exercises for your shoulder routine. So let's go on and get started. This first one, what we're going to do is foam roll the body, and not the whole body, very specifically muscles that are around the shoulder. So we're not going to hit these, it's going to be everything around, right? So if a joint is limited in its movement, it's because the muscles around that joint are holding it tightly. So what I'm going to do to start is get to right here, right? So I've got my arm up, I'm just going to roll up and down on my back, so the side of my back, right where my shoulder blade hits my ribs, go up and down just a couple times. I'm actually getting a little aggressive, pushing down kind of hard. Not to push down too hard, but that's just something I did. And if you notice, I didn't spend very much time on that. It was only about maybe 15 seconds. And I switch sides over here, same thing. Look for some tender spots. Find some tender spots, again, usually around where my shoulder blade meets my back, my rib cage. Found it, push in a little tough, and whew, all right. Now, next thing I'm gonna do is take the roller, and I'm gonna put it right underneath where my shoulder blades are, interlace my hands behind my head, and lean back. I'm only gonna do a couple of these. And I'm just really I'm trying to bend my spine a little bit to unlock the movement of some of these muscles in my spine or around my spine. And there we go. Now, next thing I'm gonna do is put my hands up to the sky right here, and I'm gonna let one fall back. I'm gonna do 3 on each arm. And then here's my last one. And 3. And I'm actually done with the roller now, so I'm gonna go and put it away. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna take this is what we call an AccuMobility ball. You can use a lacrosse ball. It is probably the best substitute is the lacrosse ball, because it needs to be a little sticky, right? It's because what we want to do is it needs to have a little bit of purchase against the wall, right? So it's a little sticky against the wall. What I'm going to do is, I'm just going to show you on this side. So I'm going to bring my arm up to about 90 degrees and then back. And see right where my logo is, I'm actually going to place that and then have my arm come up, and I'm going to reach up and then bring it back on down. So this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. I'm gonna do this 5 times, so that's already 3. And last time, and there's my 5. And now I'm gonna show you on this side. Let's see if I can get a good angle so you can see what I'm doing here. So again, it's right here. And what I'm doing is this isn't as easy over on this side. This is good. This is good. So I reach on up, coming back on down. And so what I'm doing is I'm actually massaging these muscles that are in my chest that are directly related to tightness in my shoulder. And then by going up and down with my hand, I'm actually getting my shoulders ready to actually do that movement. So it's, as I'm going up, I pretty much feel like there will be a restriction when I get to a certain point, and then the muscle gets massaged, I'm actually able to reach a little bit further. So that's the idea with that one. So now we've done a little bit of massaging, a little bit of stretching in our shoulders to loosen up the joints themselves. Now what we're gonna do is get into a little bit of priming for the shoulder itself. And so let me pull my bench out real fast. And this is what we call a T-spine. So that's T stands for thoracic. And what we do is we get a rod like this. If you have like a cooking, a rolling pin, if you have like a rolling pin or pretty much anything that's about shoulder width and length, and you can hold on to it like this, perfect, perfect. So you go on and place your elbows on the bench, knuckles facing forward, and you lean back. We're actually gonna do 5 repetitions of this. I have to readjust my elbows. So what I'm doing is I'm loosening up my really tight back muscles, stretching out some of my shoulder muscles that hold me in place. And last one, or that not hold me in place, but rather restrict movement out of my shoulders. I actually feel really loose right now after that stretch. The next little movement thing that we're gonna be doing is what we call a T-spine rotation. So again, the T stands for thoracic. If you're curious about thoracic, that's just this part of my back. It's right here to right here. That's it, that's all. And it's designed to go be bendy. It's designed to be bendy a little bit, and it's designed to rotate, all right? So we need to get those functions out of it to get adequate movement out of our shoulder, all right? So remember, it's the muscles surrounding your shoulder need to be looser and more mobile so that we can get good movement out of our shoulder when you do those exercises. So this first one, or rather this thoracic rotation exercise is we're going to be seated, just like this, seated and grounded. And I want you to get your hands up, put them behind your head, and to the best that you can, don't let them come forward, to the best you can, fly them out a little bit this way. Now, it's okay if your shoulders are hiked a little bit, that's just fine. Try to push them down some, but then without moving your lower body or your hips this way, keep yourself grounded and only try to move above your belly button. So we're gonna go 3 on each side. So that was 1 and 1. So again, I'm not moving from down here by my waist, right where my ribs are, that's the part that's moving around. This is this part going around here. So that was 1. And there's 2. And there's mine. 3. That's thoracic rotations. Now we're going to get into is prepping the muscles themselves, and that's going after those deeper muscles in our shoulder that are designed to keep us sturdy and strong whenever we go through a movement. So we loosened up everything around, right? So almost like a dynamic stretching, which is just like stretching and moving and creating a lot of movement and all the muscles around the joint so we can adequately get into certain positions. But now we're actually going to get the muscles that are specifically designed to stabilize the shoulder as it goes through movement ready. So first one we're going to be doing is I'm taking a little circle band like this. This one's a little heavy duty. You can definitely get weaker ones than this. I put it around my wrist. I'm going to come up over here to this wall, and I'm going to have my elbows at the end, and then I'm going to actually start to bring my wrists outside of where my elbows are. Now I feel this a ton in this part of my shoulder. This is what I'm looking for right here. And it doesn't feel like it's on the outside. It should feel like it's deep on the inside. What I'm doing again, just like this, and I want to hold this for 15 seconds. So I've got 5 seconds left. 2, 1, there it is. So what I've done with this is there's a very specific muscle that's one of its main purposes is to keep the ball of my joint, right? So our shoulder's a ball and socket, kind of the purpose is to keep the ball in the socket. Like that's one of its primary functions. So it's a really good one to prep and get ready. And that muscle is actually called the rotator cuff. It's deep in our shoulder. You might have heard it before, but it's rotator cuff. But again, its job is to keep the ball in the socket. And so that's what we're doing when we do something like this and we hold it in place. Last thing we're going to be doing is specifically targeting this muscle, a little bit more of the muscles I just brought up called the rotator cuff, but this is the back of the shoulder. We call it the rear delt. But the back of the shoulder here, we're going to take a band and we're actually going to do 3 different movements here. So the first one, I've got it on the top, and this is going to 10. So top, and I'm going to bring it to my collarbone. So I'm up here to my collarbone. And there's 10. Next thing I'm going to do is now straight in front. So this is about nipple line. I'm aiming for a couple inches above, right? So in between, like kind of where my mic is and where this is. So this is my zone, right? That's the zone of where I want the band to hit now. Also going to 10. Now this last part, going to 10, if you need a little bit of a breather for your arms or for your shoulders, that's fine, take a little breather. Next thing is, I want to hit right here, almost to the bottom of my ribs. So if I find the bottom, my lowest rib, I want to go up just a couple, right? And that's where I want it to hit for my last 10. All right, there's my 10. And there it is. So step by step, we've gone through some muscle massaging, and that's just to help unlock movement in the joints. Gone through some stretching, some dynamic stretching, and that's getting everything around the shoulder, all the muscles around the shoulder loosened up so that the shoulder can move around itself. And then actually activated some muscles that are used for stability during your shoulder workout. So this is a nice little warm-up routine. Could take you somewhere between 5 minutes to 10 minutes if you want to take a little bit more time on it. But that's the idea behind it. Get you ready to get the best workout you possibly can, get the best results that you can. Hope you enjoyed.